So how are grounds maintenance charges calculated?
Each service charge is calculated differently, so depending on what scheme you are, how many units, the size of the grounds that we maintain, and they're calculated annually. So we get an average of how much time we spend on each site each year. We try not to be too time bound. For example, we'll spend 1 hour every time we visit. We might spend 2 hours one visit and half an hour the next, depending on the task that we complete at the time.
Is the grounds maintenance service, is it the same as a gardening service?
It's not really. So our job is to maintain the communal grounds within the areas, within the communities that we serve. So we'll maintain what's there. So the shrubs that are already existing, the grass will cut, we'll look after what is there, and over time improve that and maybe refresh it with landscape improvement, so to speak. Gardening, we don't do individual gardens. That's the tenant's responsibility, and it will be up to them to upkeep those. And we do have examples where they'll look after a certain part of a communal area, and we encourage them to look after those. And then once they're not ready or they're unable to do that anymore, we can bring it back into our service.
Is there anything that will affect the grounds maintenance service at a particular scheme?
We reduce hedges, prune hedges, trees as well at certain times of the year. The bird nesting season is usually between February, March and August. It doesn't mean that we can't cut hedges or reduce them or prune them, but it is advised that we check for nesting, and this is part of a Wildlife Act that we adhere to. If there is jobs that we need to do, we'll check those hedges, we'll check the shrubs. If there's birds nesting, we won't carry out any work, and we have supervisors on site who can carry out those investigations for us.
Why would a grounds maintenance visit be delayed or missed completely, and would you let customers know?
We try and keep on track. Our aim is to visit a scheme maybe twice every month, every 4 weeks. Reasons for delays might be weather circumstances. We might have a van breakdown, a piece of machinery that breaks down, and we react very quickly to try and get things back on track and catch up as soon as possible. It might mean we arrive a little bit later but spend more time there to get back on top of things, so we're back to scratch, so to speak, on the next visit. We try and let customers know as much as possible, but for us, I think we visit around 700 schemes right across all areas, and to contact everybody is a bit of a difficult task, but we do our best to keep people in the loop and respond where we need to.
What happens if I don't receive the service that I expect from the grounds maintenance schedule?
Well, you can contact us. There's a grounds maintenance form on the website which you can complete, and that'll come straight into our team, and we'll respond, and somebody will get in contact with you as soon as possible. There's the general website as well, so you can contact the hub or use our chat box system.
When you've carried out some work, do you do an inspection afterwards?
We do to as many schemes as possible. So we have a number of supervisors covering all our regions. They will follow up after a team has been on site to check the quality, to check the standards, to see if there's any extra works that are required for the next visit. We don't get to every scheme after every visit because there's so many of them, but we do try to understand where we're up to in the rota, what the quality of the work is like, and we've got colleagues within the group as well who we encourage to feed back to us when they've been onto sites. Do
you have to mow lawns when it's raining?
Unfortunately we do, yeah. Living in the northwest of England, it's not always that dry. We do review and take a look at the ground conditions. If it's too wet, we're not going to run a lawnmower over it. It's only going to cause more damage. Light rains, a period of rain after a dry period, it's not an issue. Our lawnmowers will glide over it. They'll cut the grass nice and sharp. It might not look great straight away, but as soon as it dries out, it really will do. You'll find the grass might lie down a little bit, but grass is really durable. It recovers very quickly. And yeah, if we didn't cut the grass when it was wet, we'd never get it done.
Why do you blow grass cuttings and leaves instead of picking them up?
We do blow grass cuttings and leaves. We will pick a lot of them up. I think when you find our operatives out on site tidying up, you'll see them with the backpack blowers, driving all the green waste back into the ground. For the grass, we often pick up the grass, we basket it, but sometimes we use a mulching system, and these are special lawn mowers that slice up the grass very finely and they drive it back into the ground. That's really healthy for the grass. It feeds the grass again. It makes lots of nutritions in the ground for a sustained period of time. With the leaves, obviously it's more of an issue over the winter time. They drop for maybe a 6 to 8 week period, and we get probably around once a month during that time. So the key for us is to make sure pathways are clear, entrances are clear, gateways are clear. And that might mean you'll see us blow the leaves back onto the grass and into bedded areas. Then when the leaves have dropped, we'll collect them all. We might still keep some leaves in bedded areas. And this again, it feeds the ground, great for nutritions in the soil, and it creates a habitat for wildlife as well. Small creepy crawlies, birds will forage in there. So it's very healthy.
Does the grounds maintenance service look after trees? And how do I report issues with trees blocking the light and stuff like that?
We look after trees in communal areas, and we actually have a system in place where we have a contractor survey our trees biannually, and they'll come back with recommendations on what is required in terms of work to those trees. We want to maintain, we want to promote healthy tree stock, and plant trees in the right place as well where we can. If trees are dead, dying, diseased, dangerous, we'll take them out. That's normal. We want safe places for people to live. Individual gardens, trees are the tenant's responsibility. However, there are circumstances when we'll step in and we'll carry out work. For example, if it's damaging a property, if it's causing structural damage, it's dangerous. But if you give us a call, you contact us through the website again, we can get somebody to make that assessment for you.
How often should customers expect weeds, moss and paths to be treated?
We look to carry out treatments of moss and weeds maybe 4 or 5 times a year. Now we use a chemical to do this, glyphosate, and there is a moss killer that we use as well. Now these are safe products. These are things that the government have passed as safe to use, and all our operatives are trained to use them. So you might see them with a knapsack on the back and a big sprayer. And they'll spray off weeds in hard standing areas, moss on hard standing areas, weeds in beds. This can only be carried out during dry periods. However, if it's raining, we can't do it. If it's too windy, we can't do it because it drifts. So we have to take every opportunity where we can, but it's limited as well because you can't put too much down. So we only do it 4 or 5 times a year.
How often should customers expect litter in the sort of shared spaces to be picked up?
Well, during the summer, between April and September, we're there around twice a month. So every time we visit, we'll pick up the litter. During the winter period, we're there around once a month, and we'll litter pick then as well. If we have a caretaking service there, you might find that happens more frequently. So if there's internal communal spaces, if there's fly tipping, that's not something we'll do as we drop by. There's just not enough room on the van, and we have tools and other things on there that just doesn't make it safe to carry waste. Report those fly tipping to your neighbourhood manager or into the hub, and we'll get that dealt with.
And lastly, how do I report something if I've got a problem or something's gone wrong?
If you've got a problem or something's gone wrong, even if you've got a question about anything, if you go onto our website, there is a grounds maintenance page there for you. There's a contact form, so if you fill in that, if you've got pictures that you can attach, that's great because it's really helpful. Outside of that, you've got your normal channels, the hub and chatterbox.